Ashe and the Death Knight. Written by Veleru. Read by Arashi. Your name is Emil, right? Ashe fidgets when the man remains silent, but presses on with courage he doesn't feel. But at the academy, you called yourself Jeritza. Is there, a reason for that? A quiet sigh escapes Emil. One Ashe recognizes is born of exasperation, and he turns his head just a bit.
Emil,
he says, in that slow manner of his,
is the name I was born with. Mother and Mercedes prefer that name, and so I use it in their presence. But I suppose if I had the choice, I would choose Jeritza.
Oh, Ashe considers that. Then I will call you Jeritza. Jeritza grunts, looking back up to the moon. The light hits his face, and Ashe is hit by the realization that he really is Mercedes' brother. They both wear that same pensive look, faces defined by elegant lines and softened by their beige locks. The difference is the sharpness, the danger.
Why?
Jeritza begins suddenly, and Ashe turns away to hide the fact that he's been staring.
Are you here? Should you not be resting? It is night time.
Ashe wonders how to word his next sentence so that it doesn't sound too childish next to this very severe man. I felt a little restless, just have some things weighing on my mind, and I thought I could, think better. Out here, I mean. When Jeritza doesn't answer, the silence weighing upon them feels somehow more oppressive than when he's spoken. It discomforts Ashe, and he finds himself opening his mouth to try and rid himself of the compulsion to defend himself. I've been a bit distracted lately, he babbles, and I thought maybe Mercedes could give me some advice. She's always been very kind to me, though you probably know that. I guess, though, I'm still a bit worried about a lot of things. So, he finishes lamely, I couldn't sleep. His face burns as the silence stretches, but then he hears a quiet puff of air.
You hope for kind advice. Is your trouble personally painful?
Yes. Finding that, now that this conversation has been started, Ashe can hardly hold back everything that's been stewing within him, even if his conversation partner is Jeritza. Maybe because it's Jeritza, a man who seems impassive to his problems, and has probably seen worse things than anything Ashe can dream of. So he confesses. I don't think you knew, Ashe says, feeling his mouth begin to sour with shame. But I used to be a thief as a child. I'd resorted to thievery to try and support my siblings after our parents passed. But still, I knew it was wrong. It was only after Lonato took me in that I found I could change. A painful lump begins to form in his throat, but Ashe finds that, now that he's found his words, they won't stop pouring out. At least, for a bit. I stopped stealing material possessions, but I don't think I ever truly changed. How could I claim something like that when... He chokes, staring down at his hands as he fights off the burning in his eyes. When I stole the future of Gaspard, I took away the stability of the land, took away the people's happiness. When I killed Lonato, all they get in recompense is me, a commoner who never dreamed of governing any sort of land and doesn't know what to do with it. He's shaking now, feeling his face burn a mixture of deep-rooted shame and embarrassment from showing his weakness to Jeritza, who he's always known to be unwavering. In the end,
What you did was stop a man from throwing his subjects into the line of fire for a useless cause.
Ashe's breath hitches.
I do not understand why you are speaking so negatively, Jeritza says, about your actions. Did you not spare the people from dying for a grief-stricken rampage, destined to fail.
Maybe. Ashe wipes at one of his eyes. Logically, I understand what you're saying. I do. But in my heart, I still feel guilty. All I've ever done is prove that I haven't changed. I'm still just a thief.
They should be thanking you, Jeritza says. Is that something people do for thieves?
Is killing my adoptive father and their lord? Ashe says quietly. Really? Something to thank? This time, when silence falls, Ashe isn't so uncomfortable. Perhaps it's because he expected it, after uttering such words. Mayhaps it's because that's just Jeritza's way. Not that the peace lasts, because
I killed my father,
Jeritza says. Ashe's neck pops with how quickly he turns to look at Jeritza.
He had planned to marry Mercedes for her crest,
Jeritza continues.
He had only to find her.
That... Ashe can hardly find the words, horror choking the breath out of him. That's horrible.
Indeed, I had to make sure a thing could not come to pass. But what could I do, so long as he still moved and breathed?
Jeritza loses a breath, sounding almost like he's laughing.
So I killed him that night. I killed him, and the rest of House Bartels, the wretched house that did nothing but hurt us. And I discovered, that night, I, as a being capable of such a murderous spree, was a monster. I am a monster. The Death Knight had always dwelled within me. I just didn't know until then. He is my wrath, my evil. How could I continue to use the name of innocent Emile, knowing such darkness makes up my entire being? No, I am Jeritza now. I have no personal qualms in killing you,
Jeritza remarks, as easily as if he is commenting on the weather.
But Mercedes cares for you. She will be saddened should anything happen to you. So I will not.
I believe you, Ashe says faintly, wondering if he can get away with scooting a bit to the side.
But I cannot always rein in my bloodlust. The Death Knight, as well as I did just now. I fear he may one day escape my control. Should that happen, I can only pray Mercedes and Mother escape safely.
Jeritza shakes his head.
I do not want that to happen. I want to stop it. And I believe I may have a way.
That catches Ashe by surprise. He peers at Jeritza's expression to see if he's being genuine. How so?
If Byleth does not agree to fight me,
Jeritza begins, and something in his voice has Ashe glancing over to see what expression could possibly fit the way he ever so slightly shortens his words, his tone lilting with something like anticipation and clarity. There is a moment's hesitation, a brief second, in which it seems even the world falls silent to bear witness to the way Jeritza gazes at the moon, eyes more lucid than they've ever been. Ashe finds himself holding his breath. Then it passes, just as quickly as it came. But Ashe knows it happened, because Jeritza exhales and says, head lowering,
Then I will search for a way to have myself taken to court and imprisoned. In fact, you are a lord now, aren't you? A knight.
Yes.
Your word carries weight, then. If you would, could you bring up a case against me?
Ashe flinches. Justice, the knight in him demands, empathetic to the lives lost. Let him be, the child in him pleads, empathetic to the boy worried for his sister. You didn't kill for no reason. You did it to try and stop further misery. For a good reason.
But I have continued spreading death, Jeritza presses. Unlike you, I have not attempted to repent.
Ashe came here hoping to figure out what he could do for the people of Gaspard. He came to ask someone to look at him and lay down a black and white verdict, to tell him how to repent for stealing futures with a single arrow. Faced with a man doing the same thing, Ashe thinks it's not so easy. Gazing into the abyss of their crimes, Ashe wonders just how permanent the consequences are. Wonders if the past really is so rigid. How blind is justice? I'm sorry. I can't.
I see.
Thank you, Ashe says quietly, for letting me meet Mercedes. Jeritza doesn't respond. He stays silent, letting Ashe's words fade into the night's ambiance, until all that's left are the chirps of the crickets. Then he gets up, clothes rustling, and goes back into the building. Ashe lets out a breath. It's not terribly difficult to guess what Jeritza's thinking. He needs only to guess how he would feel if someone said to him, "Thank you for stopping Lenato." The end.